What's happening, party people? Welcome to Punchboard Party. My name is Daniel, and in this video, I'm talking about 4 board games that are pinging around on the radar, just getting lots of popularity going on. And I'm gonna tell you which ones of them I'm excited for and which ones I am not excited for. So let's get started. First game on the list is Marvel United X-Men. So Marvel United has just been fulfilled for a bunch of Kickstarter backers, and we're talking about boxes and boxes and boxes of content. You can see videos all over the place on YouTube with people unboxing all of their Marvel United stuff, and I have to say it looks really cool. And then walking around Walmart and seeing a copy of the base game on the shelf for pretty cheap, I've been enticed over and over again to pick up my own copy of Marvel United. This is an accessible, family way cooperative game where you're playing cards in a circle around the board trying to complete various objectives in order to gain access to beating up the big bad. It looks a lot of fun, it looks simple, but it also looks like it has enough depth for more gamey gamers. So I've wanted this on and off for a long time, but recently it's fallen off my radar. But I'm kind of glad that I've held off because this IP, X-Men, is so important to me from my childhood. And the particular version of X-Men that they're going with for this game is it's right from the comic books, but it's also right out of, or looks like it's right out of, the old Fox cartoon from the early 90s. So you got a blue and yellow Wolverine, a blue and yellow Cyclops, Jean Grey is looking like she did back then, we got Beast all in blue. I mean, this is just everything from my childhood in a box. And so I am so excited for Marvel United X-Men. My second game tonight is also on Kickstarter and is doing very well. This is Cellulose. This is an engine building, worker placement game. There's actually a literal tech tree in this game. There's a board off to the side that's an image of a plant, and you move your tokens up this board to unlock certain ongoing abilities and resources that you'll get from round to round. So that's kind of hilarious. The tech tree is kind of a tree in its own right. So what really makes this game unique and sets it apart from the rest is that the theme of this game is the inner workings of a plant cell. And that's going to be the draw to this game for a lot of people. The mechanisms look really slick, it looks really tight, it doesn't look like it's anything new. So am I excited for this one or not? And I have to say, this is not one that I'm excited for, and I'll tell you why. The theme itself, even though it's neat that we have a unique theme like this, it's actually a barrier for me. For whatever reason, games with kind of a naturey theme over it, or a game that mimics some sort of natural life cycle in the world, I'm just not drawn to. And I don't think, it's not because I don't love the environment or the earth or the beautiful world we live on. It's just I find those themes kind of boring, and I couldn't tell you exactly why. So games like Photosynthesis, Bosk, even an old game like Myrmes with the ants and you're working out an ant colony and things like this, cool puzzly game, but the theme itself just kept falling flat for me and I wasn't enticed to get it back to the table. So nature themes for Daniel just aren't working. So I know what's gonna happen. This game is gonna be picked up by a lot of people and it's gonna start climbing the BGG charts, and I'm gonna be left out in the dust because I can't get behind the theme, and I'll eventually feel like playing it, I'll play it, and I'll realize that I missed out on a great game all along. The Initiative is next on the list, and this looks really cool. This is a big box game, and right from the outset there's a bit of a mystery for us because the title, The Initiative, there's actually another word before initiative that's kind of scratched out on the box, so we don't know what kind of initiative or whose initiative it is, and so there's already a story there, and that's what this game is exactly. It's a story-driven, campaign-style, cooperative game where there's two really cool components. There's this comic book that doles out information gradually to you as you play the game. There's also this contraption used for puzzle solving where you put the mission card into it, and the flaps on this contraption cover up the words or the symbols or whatever you need to figure out. And then as you do certain things in the game, you can start flipping up those flaps and you start to reveal what the key phrase is or the answer to the riddle or the clue or what have you is. So this is a puzzle game where you're going to be working cooperatively, moving your pawns through rooms, uncovering clues, with this really cool action selection mechanic where there's different actions that you can do, whether it be move around the board, pick up clues, that kind of thing. So to do actions in this game, you have a hand of cards and they're different numbers and colors. And in order to do the action that you're looking to do, you have to play a card on top of a pile of cards that represents that action. And you always have to play a higher card than the number played previously. So this game has a lot going for it, an unfolding story, campaigns that you play, game after game, session after session. You have these cool puzzles that you're solving. But again, I'm not excited for this one. And this is one that, you know what, I'm probably going to end up getting it to the table and playing it and enjoying it. But right now, I'm not excited for it, and I'll tell you why. I don't like campaign style or legacy style games. When I get together with my buddies, I'm excited to play a lot of different games. I don't have a lot of patience in me to take up my valuable gaming time with the same game over and over again. On top of that, I'm not huge into escape room games. Have I even tried? I don't think I've even tried an escape room board game. But for whatever reason, I haven't been drawn to these games. Now, if Seven Wonders Mystery is an escape room game, that might change things. But for now, these kind of puzzling things out, I just kind of get bored at the table. I'm kind of sounding like a Debbie Downer here because I know this game is going to be a hit for a lot of people. It looks great on all sorts of levels, but it's just not my style of game. So that's The Initiative. Last but not least, we got Transmissions. And if you've been doing the math, I'm excited for Transmissions. And this kind of came out of nowhere for me. So it's on Kickstarter right now. And again, it's doing really well. So this is a rondel style worker placement game where there's 4 robots around this rondel and all the players have access to using these robots. So the robots are shared. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to get around the board to do certain actions to then upgrade your robots with certain artifacts or improvements, these kinds of things. And so you each have a player board that indicate the 4 different robots, and each of the robots has different amounts of room for upgrades. And as you're going around and collecting resources, paying resources to get upgrades, adding them to your robots, you're increasing 2 things on your robots. You're either increasing how many points they're going to be worth, or what kind of extra benefits you get when you go to certain spaces. So there's these deck of cards and you're going to have 3 cards in your hand at a time, and they're going to indicate which of the robots you're able to move. And so either it's going to give you a specific robot or it's going to give you a terrain type, and that means that you can move a robot that is on that terrain. So there's these really cool combination of mechanics here where you have the rondel situation, but you also have these upgrades that you're adding to your robots, which might allow you to move in the opposite direction on the rondel, or maybe let you move extra spaces. Each of the robots has a different number of spaces that it can move, so like 2, 3, or 4 spaces, what have you. But you can put upgrades on your version of the robot so that when you use that robot, it moves extra spaces. So there's lots of flexibility in the rondel with the upgrades that you can get. And on top of that, there's a bunch of different ways that you're trying to score points. You might be picking up pipes to make these pipe routes for points, or maybe you're collecting these artifacts which actually have like butterflies and little woodland creatures on them that will also get you victory points. You might be trying to get points just from the upgrades themselves. There's all sorts of different things that you're trying to do with this really simple, tight mechanism. So I just love this idea of kind of being limited in your choices by the cards that you have in your hand. So you can only move robots that correspond to the cards that you have in your hand. But then based on the upgrades you might have given this robot, that might give some extra flexibility to that action. So I love a game that has a simple core, but that you can do a lot with. And so this combination of a rondel, worker placement, upgrading your robots, these shared robots, I'm just really excited. So folks, there we have it. That's 4 games that are ping-a-ling-a-linging on the hotness and whether I'm excited for them or not. So down in the comments below, tell me if you are excited for these games or if there's games that I didn't mention tonight that you are going crazy for. So let me know what you're thinking and what is pinging off your radar. And until next time, party people, have the best day.